You didn't even know the cruise was still happening. Not officially. Not until you saw the sunlit photos on your cousin's Instagram story, 4 rows of smiling faces in pastel linen and straw hats, all waving from the dock like a postcard. 4 cars, 17 people, 1 rented yacht, 0 mention of you. At first you laugh. It's so absurd, so unthinkable that it feels like a setup for a joke. You scroll again, tapping back through the story like you must have missed something, maybe a message, a tag, even a hint of inclusion. But there's nothing, not even a courtesy text. You're not in the group photo. You're not in the group period. You sit with it, not angry yet, more stunned, like the silence just started ringing in your ears. You check the group chat, the one with the chaotic stream of emojis, gifs, and half-finished dinner plans, and it's gone. Not archived, gone. You weren't just left out of the cruise. You were quietly exiled from the digital kingdom. That's when the twinge starts. It isn't the trip. You could have funded the whole thing 10 times over and barely noticed the dent. It's the ease with which they moved without you. Like you didn't matter. Like you were never really part of the fabric, just a seasonal addition they could retire when it no longer fit the aesthetic. You scroll past photos of sunbathing uncles and glittery drinks, and your sister's new boyfriend holding court on the rear deck. You don't know his name. You were never introduced. Somehow he made the cut. You didn't. And then, like it always does, the disbelief sours. Quietly, internally. You feel it coil inside, not loud, not dramatic, just deliberate. Like a hand tightening around a loose thread. You want to call someone, ask why, demand the rationale. But there's a dignity in the silence. And if there's anything you've learned from every room you've walked out of stronger, it's this never beg to be included. Especially not where you used to belong. You lean back in your chair, letting the warmth of the afternoon sun touch your face through the window. The yacht. You've heard of the one they rented. It was mentioned in passing by your uncle months ago when they still assumed you'd be there. You remember the name, the Alouette. Fancy name for a borrowed bird. You reach for your phone and scroll not through socials but contacts. Past the friends who text holiday memes and the relatives who haven't checked in since the last inheritance squabble. You stop at a name that has nothing to do with family. Your yacht broker. The thought comes softly. No heat, no pettiness, just precision. If they want to enjoy the Alouette, well, maybe it's time to remind them who taught the family how to fly in the first place. You always wondered how long it would take for them to pretend you were never really one of them. Now you know it takes exactly 1 group chat removal and a well-timed yacht departure. You stare at the messaging app again. The group was called Cruisin' For, bruising a name your younger cousin gave it years ago, back when family trips meant shared playlists and inside jokes that somehow survived 3 generations. You were one of the original admins. You helped book the first cruise. Now it's just gone, deleted, or worse, rebuilt without you. You scroll through your messages, trying not to let it feel personal, but every silence has a shape. Your aunt, who usually checks in with emoji-laced updates, quiet. Your mother, whose calendar you practically managed growing up, nothing. Even your younger brother, who once called you for help untangling his taxes, has gone full ghost. And you see it plain as day now. It wasn't just the trip. It was a quiet campaign of removal. First from the plans, then from the logistics, and finally from the digital record. They didn't want a scene. They wanted absence. You remember when you were 12 and forgot to pack your shoes for the beach trip, how the whole family teased you for a week straight. Back then, your mistakes were family lore. Now your success, your distance, your independence, they've become disqualifying traits. You reach for your coffee, suddenly bitter. Maybe they think you've outgrown them. Or maybe they never liked what you grew into. You're not the kid who needed rides anymore. You're the adult who writes checks, signs contracts, and reads legal clauses for fun. You're the one who always paid, never asked, and somehow that made you disposable or threatening. You look at your inbox, 1 unread message from a cousin you barely speak to. Subject line, "Hey, weird Q, do you still own that yacht from last summer?" You don't open it yet. You just smile. There it is, the one breadcrumb they forgot to sweep up. That slow realization creeping in behind their sunglasses and frozen drinks, you might still be more connected than they gave you credit for. You reply with a single sentence. Not that one, but I know who does. You sit back and breathe. You're not going to scream. You're not going to confront. No dramatic family callouts or middle of the dock arguments. You're going to do what they least expect. You're going to play the long game, the quiet one, the one that requires patience, precision, and just a little salt in the breeze. Because while they were busy pretending you didn't exist, they forgot one thing: the yacht they're all laughing on. It's not just a yacht, it's your yacht. They just haven't figured that out yet. You didn't confront them, not even after that message. You just watched. They posted more stories, more sun-drenched selfies, more videos of charcuterie boards wobbling on teak tables. Your mom made a post captioned, "Finally family time without drama." Your sister commented with a row of champagne emojis. Your stomach didn't twist, but something behind your eyes did. There was no need to dig. The story was already laid out in post tags and GPS metadata. You knew the route, knew the name of the charter company, knew the yacht, and you knew who owned it now. Yeah, you. Well, technically not you. You don't tie your name to things like that anymore. The LLC owns it. The LLC you formed 2 years ago after your third big exit. The one you named after your childhood dog, just for the irony. You remember the day you bought the Alouette. It wasn't even the yacht you wanted, but it was available at the time, and your broker said it had good bones. You refurbished the interior, quietly richer leather teak flooring marble-topped bar. Not flashy, just tasteful. Like you. The irony now. They rented it without realizing it had become yours months ago. Back then, you hadn't expected this day would come. You just liked the idea of floating above the noise sometimes. A place no one could reach you. Now that quiet vessel is where your name will echo loud and clear. You heard what they said behind your back over the years? She's too busy. She's changed. She doesn't show up anymore. As if your distance were betrayal and not self-preservation. As if being the one who never asked for money made you unrelatable. As if growing up into someone independent made you unlovable. They called you too ambitious, too cold, too different. But never once did they ask how you were doing. Never once did they wonder if maybe your silence wasn't arrogance, it was exhaustion. That's what stings, not the exclusion, the assumption. They assumed you wouldn't care, that you'd be too busy or too distant to notice, that you'd shrug it off like some tax write-off or missed dinner. They thought not inviting you meant you'd just disappear. But you don't disappear. You never did. You don't vanish, you evolve, quietly, precisely, and when necessary, decisively. So you open a new tab and book a flight not to crash the party, but to take back what's already yours. You don't need revenge. You just want the truth to sit beside them for a while, like a shadow they can't unsee. Because when they board that yacht and see your name discreetly etched into the brass plate by the helm, there won't be a scene. There'll just be silence, and that's all you've ever needed. The flight is smooth. You don't even bring much, just a small bag sunglasses and that calm composure you've had to cultivate like armor. No announcements, no hints, just movement. You land before them, a day early. You know the yacht's itinerary better than they do now. You requested it updated, of course, discreetly through your manager who handled the communication with the yacht crew. The staff has no idea about the drama. They're just following orders from the registered owner, which is you. You take a small car to the marina, your name already on the clearance list. You don't approach the yacht immediately first. You sit in the cafe across the dock and watch it float under the golden sky. The Alouette, sleek, elegant. Still the same silhouette you remembered from the brochure. But now it feels different. Now it carries weight. The first thing you do is walk aboard and greet the crew. They're polite, warm, well-trained. You remind the captain who signs the paychecks, and he smiles knowingly. You'll be on board for part of the trip, he asks, tucking a clipboard beneath his arm. You nod. Yes, but don't change the welcome for them. Just let it unfold naturally. He nods again, no questions asked. You like him already. Inside the cabin gleams. The towels embroidered with the yacht's name have your monogram on the trim. Not gaudy, just present, just enough. The silver placard by the staircase has the words, "Commissioned by Alouette Marine Holdings, LLC." No one else in the family knows that's you. Yet, you walk through the room slowly like a guest in your own revenge. No, not revenge. This isn't about vengeance. It's about presence. It's about choosing not to vanish when they expect you to be small. It's about making silence impossible to ignore. You tell the staff to welcome the family like normal, offer drinks, help with luggage, let them settle in. But I'll be joining later, you say. From the cafe, you watch them arrive. One car, then two, then four. You spot the group instantly, sun hats, tote bags, camera phones out, excited voices echoing across the dock. You can hear your aunt's laugh even from here. You see your mom's arm linked with your sister's. There's the boyfriend, the cousins, 17 people. Not one of them looks back toward shore. You sip your iced tea slowly, calm, still. Let them board. Let them feel it. Let them open the welcome cards. Let them see your signature at the bottom, even if they don't believe their eyes at first. Let the truth settle like sea fog. They're already on board when your phone buzzes. A text from your cousin. Hey, quick question. Did you ever, buy a boat? You stare at the screen for a moment, then type back. Depends, are you enjoying it? There's no reply. You imagine them opening drawers, finding your curated champagne collection, your photos framed subtly in the hallway, the playlist with your initials embedded in the metadata. You imagine the realization spreading unspoken awkward sticky. And you smile not out of cruelty, out of clarity, because they forgot who you were. Now they're about to remember. You don't make your entrance right away. You let them marinate in the confusion. From your hotel room overlooking the marina, you watch their energy shift across the day. At first, it's all laughter and selfies. But by hour 2, the posts slow. The tags stop. The smiles, at least the genuine ones, start to disappear. Someone's obviously noticed the plaque. You imagine your uncle squinting at it, reading Alouette Marine Holdings LLC, then furrowing his brow at the tiny initials engraved beneath. You imagine your sister saying, "That can't be her," while your mother stiffens and looks away as if pretending hard enough will erase the brass. But brass doesn't lie. They don't leave the yacht. Not yet. There's pride at stake, pride and confusion. You imagine a few of them scrolling back through their inboxes searching for receipts, maybe even rereading the yacht rental contract. Somewhere, someone is asking, "Wait, who actually signed off on this?" By the time you step onto the dock that evening, the sun is lower, warmer, casting a sleepy golden shimmer across the water. You wear white, simple tailored, no logos, no jewelry, just clean elegance and sunglasses big enough to let you see without being seen. The staff meets you at the ramp. "Welcome aboard, ma'am," the captain says smoothly, his tone unchanged. "Shall I let the others know you've arrived?" You shake your head. "No, let's not spoil the mood. I'll introduce myself." You walk aboard like you belong because you do. You pass the deck chairs, the lounge pillows, the half-finished cocktails. A few voices echo inside, laughter that sounds a little too forced now. Then you step into the main saloon. Every conversation stops. Your aunt drops a cracker. Your cousin's glass tilts in his hand. The boyfriend looks like he doesn't even recognize you, probably never really did. But your mother freezes. The way someone does when they realize the dream they thought they woke up from is still happening. You don't say anything. You just take off your sunglasses, fold them gently, and tuck them into your blazer. "Hello," you say, calm as glass. Someone tries to speak. Your sister, maybe. A startled sound escapes her throat like she wants to shape it into words, but can't find the opening. Your mom steps forward first. "Of course she does. We didn't know you were." Coming, you finish tilting your head. "That's strange. It's my yacht." You say it without emphasis. No need to raise your voice. The words carry themselves. There's a moment, half a beat, where no one breathes. Then the captain, punctual as ever, steps in. "Dinner will be served in 20 minutes, he says, addressing you first. "Shall I have the staff set your table as usual?" You nod. Your family watches the captain, then watches you, then back again. No one knows what to say. You could draw blood right now if you wanted to. Call them out one by one, demand answers, rip through the fabric of their justifications with the facts in your back pocket. But you don't. You walk past them instead. You don't owe them an explanation. You own the boat. And for now, that's enough. They don't speak right away, not really. They make noise, nervous laughter, awkward throat clearing, overcompensating jokes. But none of it lands. Not with you seated calmly at the dining table, sipping from a glass that you picked out 6 months ago during the yacht's refit. The one with the crystal stem and faint gold rim. The one they're now drinking from, too completely unaware that their little escape is built on your taste. They avoid your eyes. Your aunt keeps refilling her wine glass. Your cousin starts 3 sentences and abandons them midway. Even your sister, always the loudest, can't quite meet your gaze. She keeps fiddling with the charm on her bracelet, the one you gave her when you still thought being the generous one would be enough. The silence stretches. It's not confrontational, just dense, like salt in the air before a storm. Your mother tries to reclaim the tone. "This is unexpected," she says. Her smile is too wide, her voice too high. "You tilt your head, is it?" She blinks. "Well, yes, I mean, we didn't know." You let the silence return. It's not angry, it's just efficient. Someone else tries. Your uncle. "You look well," he says. You give him the courtesy of a nod. You do look well, because you are. Because while they've been focused on group chats and curated family traditions, you've been building something real, something that doesn't require anyone else's approval to be legitimate. Still, you let them squirm. Not because you want to see them suffer, but because there's something instructive in discomfort, especially when it's the natural consequence of exclusion they thought would never echo back. Dinner begins. The staff you hired is flawless. Every course is timed-plated and served with the sort of grace they could never replicate in their family potlucks. They notice. You can tell. It unsettles them, the contrast between the warmth they expect and the polished excellence they're getting. They don't quite know how to behave here because for once they're guests in your world. You excuse yourself after the third course. Just a quiet exit to the rear deck. You need a breath. Not from stress, just from saturation. Too much pretending. Too much pretending not to care from all sides. You lean against the railing, letting the ocean air cool your skin. A few minutes later, you hear the soft tread of shoes behind you. Then, your sister's voice. Was this all just to prove a point? You exhale long and slow. Was what? She shifts. The yacht. Coming here. The dinner. You knew we were going to be on it. You did this to... What? Embarrass everyone. You turn to her finally. Look her in the eyes. "No, you say. I did this to remind you I exist." Her face tightens. It's not anger, it's recognition. "You left us," she says. You shake your head. "No, I just stopped showing up where I wasn't seen." And there it is. The quiet truth. The thing that floats above every word they never said to you. Every invite withheld. Every group message you never saw. You walk past her, not in anger, just done. Let them process it. Let them wonder. Let them sit with the weight of what exclusion looks like, from the outside of your walls. You sleep easily that night. Not out of triumph, there's no gloating in you, just clarity. You wake early long before anyone else stirs and sit alone on the forward deck with a cup of coffee. The ocean breathes beneath you steady and soft, like it's always known your rhythms better than your family ever tried to. The staff begins their quiet rituals behind you, folding towels, prepping breakfast, polishing chrome rails. They move respectfully, eyes lowered, voices hushed. They know this is your space, and now, finally, so does everyone else on board. You don't engage at breakfast, you take yours alone deliberately. Fresh fruit, black coffee, poached eggs. You're not avoiding them, you're letting them stew in what they refuse to see. It's not spite, it's stillness. Letting your absence inside your own presence do the talking. They come up one by one pretending to be casual, making light small talk about the weather, the route, the chef. But none of them dares mention the obvious: the owner has arrived. And they didn't even send a thank you. Your cousin tries again, bless him. So, this whole time, you own the Alouette. That's kind of baller, honestly. You smile thinly. I thought so too. He blinks, unsure if it's safe to laugh. It's not, but you let him float there. Your mother doesn't come up until late morning. She finds you stretched out under a canopy with a book you're not really reading. "I didn't think you'd want to come," she says quietly. You don't look up, you didn't ask. Her sigh is soft. You've been so distant. It's hard to know how to reach you. You do look up now, and your voice is calm level. You reach someone by trying, not by cutting them out and pretending they were never part of the circle. She presses her lips together. It wasn't personal. You raise an eyebrow. That's what people say when it was absolutely personal. The silence grows again, but this time it carries weight. She doesn't try to argue, doesn't try to spin it. Maybe she knows better by now. Or maybe the truth is just finally too obvious to smother. You spend the rest of the day apart from them. You sunbathe, read, nap. Let the yacht carry you toward the horizon. You don't isolate, you just don't engage. By dinner, their nervous energy has turned to awkward politeness. There's no apology, no grand confession. Just people walking carefully, measuring words, unsure how to relate to someone they once thought they could quietly leave behind. You don't need an apology. You just need them to see. You dine with the staff that night, an unspoken message. You sit at the captain's table, laughing easily with the people who actually show up for their roles. People who acknowledge your presence with gratitude, not resistance. And your family watches from the lower deck, unable to unsee what they've always ignored. Because you didn't raise your voice. You didn't storm in. You didn't demand anything. You just arrived. And sometimes that's all it takes to unravel an illusion, the quiet presence of the truth. By the third day, the balance has shifted. They don't say anything out loud, of course. No one ever does in families like yours. But it's in the way they pause when you enter a room. The way their voices lower. The way the boyfriend, still nameless to you, no longer tries to play cruise director with his loud opinions and louder tank tops. He actually moves out of your way this morning. Progress. The itinerary says open day, which means lounging, sunbathing, pretending nothing's awkward. But you have something else in mind. You make a quiet request to the captain's sunset dinner upper deck staff, only plus a few friends who've flown in. They'll need to prepare extra place settings, of course. Fresh linens. You want candles, and a string quartet would be nice if they can swing it. They can. The family notices the setup mid-afternoon round tables being dressed with white cloth wine-chilled floral centerpieces arriving by tender. There's even someone adjusting lighting rigs. Your mother watches from the lower deck pretending not to. They don't know what it's for, and that uncertainty gnaws at them more than any argument ever could. When the sun starts to fall glowing amber across the water, you appear in an emerald green dress. You didn't dress to impress. You dressed like someone who remembers herself. Clean lines, sharp neckline, barely there jewelry. Power in elegance, not noise. You don't even glance at the family. You walk straight to the upper deck, where the staff has already taken their places. A few of your friends are waiting too, colleagues, mentors, people who treat you like you matter. You raise a glass. To showing up, you say, and they laugh. They understand. They've lived it. Below, you see your aunt watching from the railing. She nudges your cousin. Your cousin whispers something to your sister, who says nothing at all. It's starting to click. This wasn't about a yacht. This was about respect. The family wasn't uninviting you from a trip. They were revoking your worth. And now they're realizing you don't need their permission to belong. You glance over during the second course and notice your mother still standing there. She hasn't moved. Maybe she thought you'd invite her up. Maybe she assumed the apology she never made was enough. But this moment isn't hers. It never was. One of your friends catches your eye and raises a glass. To your family, he says with a smirk, wherever they are. You clink his glass with a smile that says exactly. Because this is the table that matters. Not because it's expensive, not because it's exclusive, but because you chose it. Because everyone here sees you. And sometimes the loudest thing you can do isn't to shout. It's to eat your meal with dignity, surrounded by people who would never ask you to shrink. The music plays, the night deepens, and somewhere below your family lingers like spectators at a show they never auditioned for. And that's fine. Not everyone deserves a seat. The morning after the dinner, the sea is still too still. You wake to a strange silence, not from the family, but from the yacht itself. No engine hum, no steady churn beneath the deck. Just the floating hush of a vessel adrift. You slip on sandals and step out. The staff is already moving with quiet urgency. One of the junior engineers passes you with a clipboard, offering a tight-lipped smile. We're paused for a moment. Minor engine check, he says. You nod. But you know that's a euphemism. Minor on a yacht like this can mean hours of open sea with no direction. The kind of delay that lets things bubble up. And sure enough, it does. By midday, the air is thick, not with heat, but tension. No port, no distraction. Just people who've been avoiding honesty sharing the same floating platform. You read on the sun deck, headphones and pages turning. But you're aware always of the glances. They're like weak hands tapping at a locked door hoping you'll open it. Eventually, someone does knock. Your younger cousin, the one who used to trail after you during holidays like a loyal shadow. She's older now, awkward in a grown-up way, trying to bridge the gap that others widened. "Can I ask you something?" she says, standing beside your lounge chair. You take out one earbud. "Sure." "Did you want to be invited? Like, really?" The question hangs there, naked, unsophisticated, and honest. You don't flinch. "I wanted to be considered," you say. Wanted them to think of me. Whether I came or not didn't matter. But being erased. You watch her face change, guilt and understanding weaving together. "I didn't even realize they took you off the chat," she whispers. "I did," you say quietly. "That was the point." She nods, ashamed, but grateful for the answer. She doesn't try to defend anyone, doesn't ask for excuses, just lets the truth land. Later that afternoon, the engine's still quiet. You see your sister standing alone at the back of the yacht, staring out at the endless water. Something in her posture is different. Not stiff or defiant, just still. She turns when you approach. "You win," she says. You stop. It wasn't a game. She exhales. It felt like one. You study her face. The same one that once helped you sneak extra cookies at Grandma's house. The same one that didn't send the invite. Then you misunderstood the rules. She nods. Her eyes glisten a little in the light. "We didn't mean to hurt you." "But you did." She nods again. "I know." The yacht rocks gently beneath you both, just enough to remind you everything here is temporary, including silence, including discomfort. You never reached out, you say. "I thought you wouldn't want to hear from me." "That's the problem," you say. You all stop trying. There's nothing left to add. You walk away, leaving her with the view she didn't earn, but now has to sit in. That evening, the engine hum returns, a quiet, low growl like a heartbeat restarting. The yacht begins to move again, slowly cutting through the water. The family emerges like shadows after a storm changed, quieter, less sure of themselves. You don't say anything. You don't need to. The ocean did all the talking for you. The final day arrives without fanfare. No dramatic speeches, no teary reconciliations, just the muted shuffle of luggage being packed, clothes draped over chairs, and sunscreen bottles tossed half-used into bags. Even the sea seems more subdued, like it too understands the emotional undertow finally settling into silence. You watch them from the upper deck as they prepare to disembark. They move differently now, slower, more aware. The laughter is softer, the conversations come in fragments. You're still not part of them, not really. But you're not invisible either. That's the shift. No one calls this trip a disaster, but no one's calling it the best one yet either. You haven't spoken to your mother again. She's kept her distance, occasionally watching you like she wants to say something, but can't find the right door to knock on. You haven't helped her. You're not angry, you're just done doing the emotional labor for everyone else. You stand at the edge of the deck, fingers curled lightly around the rail, letting the salt breeze move through your hair one last time. Then your uncle approaches. "You taught us something," he says, voice low. You glance sideways. "Did I?" He nods. "Yeah. You reminded us what it feels like to be left out, and how powerful it is to simply show up." You don't reply. Not because there's nothing to say, but because it's not your job to explain it anymore. He doesn't push. He just gives you a small nod and steps away. That's when your cousin, the same one who texted you about the yacht, sidles up beside you. "Are we still family?" The question's heavy. It's not asking for approval. It's asking for truth. You think about it for a moment, watching the horizon. Family isn't something you hold on to, you say. It's something you maintain, like a boat. Let it rot too long and it won't float. She nods, biting her lip. "Maybe we let it rot." You exhale slow and deep. Maybe. But rot isn't the end. Sometimes it's just the part before rebuilding. She smiles, a little sad, a little hopeful. "You're not coming back with us, are you?" You shake your head. "No, I have my own plans." The yacht docks smoothly. One by one, they step off. Your mother is last. She looks up at you once eyes wet, posture straight. She mouths something. Maybe thank you. Maybe I'm sorry. Maybe both. You don't respond, but you don't look away either. When they're gone, you finally allow yourself to exhale fully. Not in relief, in completion. You step back inside past the crew, thank the captain. I'd like to take her out for a few days, you say. Alone. He nods without question. Where to? Anywhere but back, you say. And just like that, the Alouette pulls away from the dock. Clean, quiet, yours. You didn't destroy them. You didn't embarrass anyone. You simply reclaimed your space and reminded them that erasing you isn't as easy as deleting a name from a chat. You're not a footnote. You're the page. The water is still now. The engine's quiet. The voice is far behind you. Nothing remains but the rhythmic hush of waves tapping gently against the hull. You lie back on the deck beneath a canopy of soft night, your hands folded across your chest, your breath matching the rhythm of the ocean. Slow, steady, soft. In the hush of this moment, you realize something quietly profound. Not everyone who exits your life needs to be chased. Some departures are gifts in disguise, and some arrivals, your own especially, are worth the wait. You don't need permission to belong. You don't need applause to feel proud. And you don't need revenge to feel whole. Sometimes just being there, being present, being seen is the most powerful move of all. So you breathe and let the waves hold you. Let the past drift. Let the silence soothe, and let this moment remind you you came back for yourself. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself.